Well, I'm live, apparently. Hello there. This is literally going to last 20 minutes because I do not want to crash into MM2K and now your mama knows, inaugural video for the Stadia Community Day. So I just quickly wanted to jump on. Those very kind folk at NVIDIA, GFN now, and Epic Games have given me actually an ultimate code for Evil Dead, the game. I don't know that it's my kind of game. I'm not a massive multiplayer kind of guy, as you will know, but I did have a little look this morning. It looks really good. So this is really twofold. What I'm trying to do here, let me just get the old chat. What I'm trying to do here really is twofold. One is I'll show you 20 minutes of gameplay. The second is that for a forthcoming Melon video, I want to test out what the stream is like. Now this is going to be 1080p because that's the maximum that Melon can stream, but it'll actually be streaming a 1440 60 game, so it's going to be a little bit compressed, but we'll see how we get on with it. Right, over to the game. Now I don't know, yes it does. I was about to say I wasn't sure if it allows you to use a controller, but it did. You need an internet connection to use this feature. Please check your internet connection and try again later. That's weird. I'm not blaming GFN for this, but clearly I had to have an internet connection in order to fire up the game thus far. So what's going on, folks? Now, it could be Melon. So what we'll do is, this is all live, isn't it? It's fun. Let's flick out of here. And let's go, let's just fire up a different screen. Let's fire up fast.com. See what the Charles Dickens is going on here. Chrome tab. Let's have a look. Share this with you. Right, well, according to that, 910 megabits per second down. I think theoretically it's 950 is the max. We're getting 92 up. I think 110 is the max. 5 milliseconds latency. I mean, that's ridiculous. So this is banging out again. 1 gig, 1.1 gig. I mean, I've got no worries, no problem with this. Now, what I have done this morning, interestingly enough, is I was watching an old Linus Tips, or a new Linus Tips video, and he was recommending switching over to Cloudflare's DNS, which is 1.1.1, which apparently is the fastest DNS currently in the world. It's I mean, on a chart of 1 to 10, I think Google's comes in at about 4 or 5, and Cloudflare's in at 1. So I popped that in, but I didn't pop it in to this computer or to the router, because the router that I use with my service provider doesn't allow for that. So that's really quite odd. Let's go back and try again. You need an internet connection to use this feature. Okay, so let me come out. What we'll do is we'll come out of that game. Close all windows. Quit. There you go. We'll try something else a second, because it may well be the servers at Epic's end. So let's fire up a little bit of Division 2 from Ubisoft. Well, I mean, you can see there's no problem with the connection. I mean, that's ridiculously fast and incredibly low latency. So I've got no concerns there that it's at this end. Division 2's fired up. Now, by now, we would have had some indication that there's an issue with the stream, so with the internet connection. So I don't think that's what's going on there. I think it's probably the the Evil Dead game servers. I've heard a few people say there were some issues with the game on launch. It launched, I think, Thursday. And it may well be they've taken the game down to fix some stuff. So just bad timing, Epic. But let's switch back to Division 2. Here we go. Now this is working. So I don't have any concern. So would I recommend using Melon for game streaming? Well, I'll tell you after I've watched this back, because of course at my end I'm getting complete my connection is showing me what's local, so I can't tell you how good it looks, but what I can do is I can show you, for example, here's the stream with lots of infinity, and as I say, what I'm seeing here is essentially the local gameplay, which is then sent to Melon, who distribute it according to wherever you decided you want your platform to be. This isn't the narrative for this video, by the way. I add that separately at a future point. This is just purely some B-roll, as they call it in the profession. Right, so as before, we're pushing out at pushing up at 1080p, but it's actually streaming through locally at 1440-60, and you may or may not know that they launched a new DLC on, I want to say, Thursday for Division 2. I haven't got to it yet because my game progression is that I haven't yet finished Warlords of New York, and we're on the last boss. So I want to get that done before I move on to any new content. I know there's some kind of co-op multiplayer PvE stuff, but that's, yeah, we'll get to it at some point. So what I think you will see is a relatively consistent look and feel, a high quality look and feel when the character is static, but you'll probably see some blurring when it's in motion. And the reason for that is that as much as Melon suggests that you can use Melon Studio for game streaming, in reality it's designed for, obviously, talk shows and that kind of stuff. So you're not going to get the best performance from fast moving action, because very rarely do people fast move when you're talking to them. Let me just keep an eye on the time, because I definitely don't want to be crashing MM2K and Cowboy for the start of the Stadia Community Event Day. They're coming up in literally 15-16 minutes, which is really early their time actually, but it's 11 a.m. here in the UK, 12 and 1 p.m. depending where you are in Europe. But Division's a great game. If you haven't played it, then it's ridiculously cheap right now. This one, I think I'm right in saying I've got it running at 165 frames per second. Again, you're not going to see that here because Melon's maximum is 60. And that's all good. But it is, I can actually see, when I'm looking back at the screen, Melon, I do see some latency. There's some frame drops there. I would say, it's dropping maybe 2 out of 5 frames. Yeah, I'd say about 10, 20%, maybe more, 30% of the frames. Which, as I've said, is to be expected to a degree because it's not really designed for that. The overhead of streaming a game is fairly extensive, which is why, and bearing in mind that they've got to pay for the bandwidth from their server to the platform provider. So they're going to want to reduce it as much as possible, keep the costs down. It makes sense. And it's no different for any of the live streaming web-based applications. They all largely use the same technology anyway. They just add bells and whistles in terms of feature sets. Particularly these days, with a lot of the browsers have a lot of the tech that's used built in, like the screen sharing stuff. It's out of the box. But things I'd love to see. I mean, they give you an option to replace your background with an image. So, as long as you've got a green or blue background, they give you an option to replace with an image. But I'd actually like to see them replace that with an alpha opacity, so that it's transparent, which is particularly, I mean, here, look, you can't see it because what I've craftily done is chosen a black background with NVIDIA Broadcast. And there's a dude behind me, I think. And let's get this. Where's my big weapon? There it is. Oh, I haven't got any. Whoops, no ammo. And so it's merging because, of course, this game right now is at night. This guy, what gun am I using here? Can't see anything either. Yeah, so it looks like I'm transparent, but of course I'm not. And if I push the screen up there, you can see the corner. So I'd love to see them do that. None of the web-based streaming apps let you do that, and none of them either are really configured for gameplay. They'll all tell you that you can do it. But to be honest, if you're going to do that, I'd recommend just downloading Streamlabs. I mean, ultimately, as much as you could argue that this takes away some of the overhead on your local PC, the reality is you're still having to push up the content to their servers. So if you've got a weak broadband connection at your end and a fairly weak PC, for example, I've tried streaming from my MacBook Pro, which is about 5 years old. It's a pre-M1 chip. I think it's even an Intel chip, and it's just a dog. And it's not even that old. And when it came out, it wasn't cheap either. So it goes to show that web-based streaming really is more about convenience than it is, being able to use a fairly unimpressive PC. I think you still need reasonable hardware to do it. Although it will, if all you're doing is talk shows, then it's only really got to cope, I think I'm right in saying, with your camera, and it will take the feed from the other cameras and distribute it. I hope it does that. Certainly makes the most sense from a user perspective. But if you were to host that same show using OBS Studio or Streamlabs OBS, I think they dropped the OBS from the name. I think it's just Streamlabs now. But if you were to do that, then you have to bring all of those feeds into your computer, add them into the mix, and then push the whole lot out to your chosen platform. So there's a fair amount more work going on from a processor point of view, and obviously a little bit more bandwidth. But to be fair, it's all going up in one stream, whether it's just you or 5 other people. So someone took Unitrix. Give Unitrix back. How are you, my friend? I am very conscious of the time, thank you. I'm going to be calling it in about 5 minutes. I was just testing how Melon game streams for a future video. You're probably seeing a bit of a frame drop. I think that's just the way it is. So awful phrase, but I think if you don't have access to OBS or Streamlabs or Stadia, which of course streams direct from YouTube servers, which is, as far as I'm aware, unique and by far the best way to stream games if you don't have the hardware. That said, NVIDIA Shield will do a good job. Oh, Osu. Don't think I'm not aware of that one, my friend. Yeah, NVIDIA Shield TV will stream, but it only streams at 720. Other hardware that streams, actually, as I'm saying this, PlayStation, PS5 and PS4 plus the Xbox. Now, both of those do actually a really good job, but the PlayStation is by far the king of that realm, because with PlayStation you can not only mix your mic and camera and chat, and it will transcribe the chat into a voice as well, which is quite interesting. But on top of all that, you can actually stream to YouTube and Twitch, whereas Xbox right now is limited to Twitch only. And I may be wrong, but I'm not sure that you can use your camera with the Xbox as well. But that's only because I've never tried it. It may well be possible. So yeah, there's a few hardware options where you know, if you may already have this kit in your house, so you wouldn't need a PC. But if you're going to stream PC games and you want to do the whole look and feel and the mix and everything, then yeah, you need a half decent PC. So this is an option, but as I've said, at the risk of going over and over the same old tired info, the problem is that it's still pushing up from your PC. It just happens to be going up through a browser. So there will be some built-in constraints, which is why if I stand still and do a really gentle look around, it's going to be okay. It's going to handle it quite nicely. But with a bit of movement, you're going to get frame drops because, you know, you're going up through Chrome at the end of the day, and it's got to go process. There's a whole bunch of third-party applications that are taking your feed and then pushing it up to their server and everything else. And then they've got to pass it on through to your platform of choice. So I think that's going to be the video that I end up. I'll have to listen back to the dialogue here, because I'll mute this video and I'll put a new version of me over the top, talking to camera and doing all that stuff. Although I don't use notes or a script when I'm doing stuff, and partly because I'm too lazy. It takes a long time, and partly because I think it's noticeable when somebody's reading a script. A classic tell, if you're interested, particularly with my lovely American friends, is they will say the word "the" as "the" when they're reading, because that's the way that American English has evolved, that you say it as you see it, right? So, you know, Buckinghamshire instead of Buckinghamshire, for example. So when the word "the" comes into motion, the automatic response is to say "the." When it sounds wrong when you say, "I have been playing the game for quite some time now," where of course we'd all be saying "the game." So that's a little tell. If you want to know if someone's written a script and they're reading from a script, I can think of one or two that do daily videos, which, to be fair to them, takes a hell of a lot of work. I did it for a while, and I couldn't keep up with the workload, to be honest with you. It's just ridiculous. So hat off to them, and they deserve every success, because quite honestly, that's a job and a half. Right, okie dokie. Well, here I am, I'm playing without thinking, and the thinking that I'm doing is that this is a... Oh, hello, mate, didn't see you there. Get out of the way. Whoa. What do they call it? A crate. Yeah, he's dead. Right, see if I can... I think it drops 3 crates in the game, and of course you're getting attacked all the time. So... Let me put my little... Boom, have some of that, mate. Which means that the crates, you get a limited amount of time, and then the crates break, or whatever they do. They don't work anymore. So you have to try and eliminate the enemies, and then open the crate. Crate. Let me see if I can do it now. Oh, my little auto turret there is taking care of them. Go on. Oh, I got it. Okay, good. That's 1. I've got 2 out of 3 crates claimed. It's quite hard to do all 3, actually, unless there's a bunch of you. Right, guys, I did promise that I would only do this for a few minutes, because coming up in a few more minutes, is the Stadia Community Event Day, starting off with MM2K and Now Your Mama Knows. I actually tweeted an itinerary this morning. I didn't see that anyone had put one up anywhere. So go and check out that tweet if you want to know who's streaming and at what time. I'm going to be up at midday Eastern, which is 5 p.m. UK, 9 a.m. Pacific, and we're going to be running a very special rock show, actually, with most of the alumni of Raise Praise. There should be, if everybody turns up that said they will, about 12 people in the stream. So that's going to be the first time I've streamed that many people. It's going to be fun to see how that gets controlled. But do jump in, please, and at those times, and support everybody else in the meantime, because it's going to be a great day. Thank you very much for joining me. As always, leave a like, hit the old subscribe, da-dee-dee-dee-dee. Have a great day. I'll see everybody later. Take care.